Welcome to Modern Homestead, Alaska. I'm Jessica, and this is the July 2026 garden tour. Come on in. Every garden season begins long before anything is ready to harvest. Around here, it actually starts indoors. While winter still has a grip on Alaska, the living room slowly fills with plants, and those first hints of the fall spring remind us that another growing season is just around the corner. As soon as the snow melts enough to work, I headed straight to the raspberry patch. From there, it was on to the greenhouses, where a fresh layer of wood chips and a little heater gave us a head start while the weather was still deciding if it was really spring or not. Those extra few weeks made all the difference, allowing me to pot up flowers and get things growing before the warmth finally arrived. Once the ground was ready, Aaron tilled the garden, and together we hauled in what felt like endless yards of compost and garden soil. For days, we shoveled, raked, and built up the beds, planted every row, and finished it all with wood chip pathways winding through the garden. And now, here we are, late July. The flowers are blooming, the vegetables are thriving, and every bit of that hard work has come to life. It's one of my favorite reminders that the most beautiful season doesn't happen overnight. They grow a little at a time, one faithful day after another. When we first found this little piece of Alaska, I wasn't dreaming about how much food I could grow. My very first thought was simply, this is one of the most peaceful places I have ever stood. Quiet, still, beautiful. Long before there were flower beds or garden paths, I knew I wanted this place to feel like home. Over the years, these gardens have become part of that story. They're not here to prove how much we can produce. They're here to provide for our family, to welcome friends with fresh flowers, and to remind us to slow down and enjoy the season we've been given. This has become my quiet corner of the earth. The rain has just absolutely demolished some of the plants, but I did get them fed just in the last couple of days, and they should bounce back, especially if we can just have some light rain instead of the heavy rains like we had yesterday. Just a day or so ago, these looked really amazing, and then they were just beaten half to death, it feels like. But all of this up here is new blooms that will open up and be beautiful. So I'm going to go through and do some maintenance while we're doing these garden tours. And these two pots here happen to just be a single bubblegum super tunia. They are going to overtake. They have filled out beautifully. These are 12-inch pots, and just one is fantastic. I'll show you the ones around the outside of the garden as well. They have a couple of other things tucked in them. And although the intention was just a garden tour, I do have to do as much maintenance as I possibly can while we're out here. And I have only until about noon before it's calling for more rain. But I would like to make sure that everything gets fed. I think that's one of the main issues that I'm having is it's just incredibly difficult to get some food into the plants and then to keep it from washing away before the plant can utilize it. However, a good cutback this time in the season is just going to make these plants really, really happy. Well, doesn't that just look totally different than this beat up one? Oh my, I'm gonna have a whole lot of this to deal with today. Shall we begin just closest to the greenhouse here? And I did want to say I love the big, bold, bright colors in my garden and in my flowers because it gets lost amongst the forest, the landscaping that we're doing, all of the unfinished, untidied areas of the homestead, and having the bright punches of color. I really find it to be very beautiful and eye-catching, and it draws your attention to something beautiful instead of something undone around here. But we'll begin right here in what I have done in this first row. We have an outdoor tomato. This is a Russian tomato that I got from Mid-Valley Greenhouse, and you can see it is hungry. I did go ahead and get it fertilized a little bit this week, and so it should bounce back. But it's simply loaded up with flowers, and it is going to put on a huge amount of tomatoes if it can just get a little better weather. I do have some tomatoes already out here formed up underneath. In this bed in particular, I had to wait for a plane to fly over. I wanted to hold back the soil. I had a wet thing, seed packet that had gotten wet when I was out here watering, so I needed to plant it. So this is some random lettuce, and that looks like a beet down there. And all I do is just kind of sprinkle some stuff along the edges in hopes that it'll hold the soil back in the amount of rain that we are getting, as opposed to washing it away. And it does truly help. Anything that is rooting in is helping prevent the potatoes from losing, or tomatoes, sorry, from losing the soil. And they are actually looking really good out here. This is our massive raspberry patch, and we are going to get a harvest this year. If you look in here, raspberries bloom, at least this variety, on old wood. So this is last year's stalks, and in and around this entire raspberry bush is completely loaded with little bitty raspberries. And then these are the new canes that it is sending up and out, and we've got to do some maintenance. Something has nibbled away on the leaves, but it hasn't affected the raspberry, so they continue to grow and flourish and send their shoots out, and that is just absolutely massive and fantastic to see. And right back there hiding is my miniature dairy cow, Peaches. Can't see her through the forest. Isn't that just absolutely wild how much those have grown? I look forward to having an orchard and a berry area on the homestead someday, somewhere, and this will get transplanted out of the main garden, and this will become main garden space as well. However, this is protecting it from the moose, the cow obviously, and anything that would like to get in and just have a nibble at my raspberries. Along so many of the rows, you will see this plant. Okay, chickens. This is a nasturtium, and it is a trap plant, and it should be trapping whatever is eating the raspberries, but whatever is eating the raspberries prefers them over this nasturtium. And then for the first try ever along this row, we have planted corn. See this plant? This specific plant is a weed, and pull those as we can. However, in the back here, this will be snap peas, and then on this end is shelling peas, which we're hoping to have a harvest that we can preserve and put away. And I just came through with some twine and tied it up, and it's all starting to climb its way up the trellis, which is gonna just work great. The corn is yellowing a little. Maybe it's too much rain. Maybe it's the fact that it hasn't even been 60 degrees in the last couple of weeks. And Maybe it is hungry, maybe it is struggling in some way. I'm not 100% sure, but at least it's growing. So what I can do, what I plan on doing today is maybe getting some granule fertilizer as opposed to using the liquid, because it just feels like there's so much moisture in the soil that the liquid fertilizers that I'm using are just running away with me. If you have a recommendation for that, let me know. But I think if I do kind of a slow release granule in the garden mid-season, I may be able to, as it breaks down, the plants can absorb it a little better that way. I'm not 100% sure, but this is my first try with corn, and here in Alaska, we're told you can't even grow it, so might as well try. This is supposed to be a specific variety that only grows 3 to 4 foot tall, and we'll start putting the corn on, and I thought if nothing else, at least it'll be great fall decor. Turning this way, we have the radishes, and then this bed all the way down there is bordered by celery. So you'll see celery tucked in and out. It is a border plant, so right there, that green leaf is the celery that separates the lettuce from the spinach. There's celery down the sides here. So I need to come through and pull a bunch of these radishes. Aaron and I have been eating them, but it looks like I haven't even started to make a dent. I do like pickled radish, so I think this week would be a really good week to clear the radishes out and start making some pickled radishes to have just kind of fermented in the fridge. That would be fantastic. Here's what's happening with the lettuce. As you can see, I have been hacking away and chopping and trying to eat a salad every night, and with the amount of sun and whatnot that we get, it starts going to seed. So it starts flowering like that. When your lettuce or anything flowers like this, it is bitter. But this is a lettuce mix, and so I found last year that if I just come through and pull out of the lettuce whatever it is that's flowering, this will not go to waste. It'll get fed to the cow and the chickens. And so everything that provides for us gets a treat. But anything with flowers on it like this, I can pull, and then I still have some really beautiful lettuce mixed in underneath that is still perfectly good for eating. I'll pull this now, and then it's going to rain in the next couple of hours, and it should rinse it all off. I can then come out and harvest some for dinner tonight. Continuing to work our way down this side, this is our beets, and then there is celery on both sides, but I see weed. Man, the weeds are super happy this year. However, I'm not overtaken by them, and they're not really choking anything out, because every single break that I've gotten and every chance I've had to come out here and fertilize, I have pulled the weeds. But that is kind of that beet. Oh my, it looks like it's about time to harvest some of the first beets of the season. So this is the weed that I'm talking about. I don't know what it's called. I just recognize it after having gardened here for a couple of years. Isn't that beautiful? You can eat beet tops, but they're also really good for the animals. I don't really like them, so I'll feed them to the animals. Harvest time. So now I'll have some fresh beets, some radishes, and some lettuce for dinner tonight. Let's set this down. During this video, you may hear some plane noise off and on. When the weather is actually clear, people are taking the opportunity. Alaska is full of privately owned, kind of these little propeller, small planes. And And we're just gonna have to work together with them today to get this video filmed, and they need to get wherever it is that they're going. Maybe some remote property out in the middle of nowhere taking supplies. Who knows what they're doing. So you see again the celery, that's easy to determine. And then we did marigolds as our flower on this one, and marigolds tell the bugs to go away, whereas nasturtiums tell the bugs eat me instead. Anywho, we did fantastic with those carrots that my friend Heather gave me, and they were the pelleted seeds for the first time. And what we see here is that I do not have an overgrowth of carrots, and in fact I should have a very, very fantastic harvest. It is a very deep bed. It is loaded with carrots, but they are spaced out enough that I have not had to come in here and pick through thin. I haven't had to thin. That's the word I'm looking for. I've not had to thin my carrots, and that is super impressive to me. She got those from Johnny's Seed, and that is not where I normally buy my seed from, but I will definitely be doing pelleted carrots depending on the harvest. Our goal with this year's garden is to harvest and preserve as much as we can, with the realization that there is no way that you can grow all of everything in any garden. However, if I could grow a year's worth of carrots, garlic, potatoes, and celery, I have the makings for just about any meal. So we'll go through the carrots and find the weeds, because carrots do not care for weeds. And again, the celery on the edges, the celery gets super deep rooted, and it just helps hold that soil in. This is some grass. Oh, look at the size of that one. Oh, and she is, oh my gosh. That one took 3 turns. Of course, this garden provides. Every year, it fills our pantry with potatoes, celery, herbs, vegetables, and enough harvest to preserve and enjoy long after summer has faded. But the harvest isn't the only gift. This is where I come for evening walks after the work is done. This is where ideas begin. Prayers are whispered, and the worries of the day seem just a little lighter. Every path, every flower, every carefully tended row tells part of our family story. Some people grow gardens simply to feed the body. I think the garden should also feed the soul. Before we move too far along, this is our garlic. It is a hardneck varieties, more than one variety. And I've been out here looking for the garlic scapes, and it's just now a few of them. This is the garlic scape. It'll come, it'll be big, it'll circle, it'll be fantastic. But this is what we're waiting on, is all of these to come out. We'll come out and trim them, and then it'll put all of its energy into the bulb. So just like this, there we go. That's a perfect garlic scape. You can eat these. I like to make garlic scape salt out of them. We're almost out of that. We didn't make it last year, we made it the year before, and it has lasted all of this time. It has that mild garlic flavor, but it tastes a little more like a cross between an onion and a garlic than it does just straight garlic. I have shared before on the garlic that I used all of last year's harvest to plant out, and then it all came up. So this should be a super strong variety of garlic. Part of it will go back into the ground to do another harvest, but we should have enough garlic this year. Fingers crossed everything goes well, and we will be able to actually have enough for our family for this next year. Jumping over here, we'll finish this row like we showed before. This is the spinach. Erin and I have been clearing out as we can, and I just need to come through because I can blanch and freeze this spinach, and I need to get that done as well. Continuing to find the weeds. This is some arugula in here, just a little bit. And on the other side is the radishes. This is the other corn. And again, it's yellowing too. See if we can't get some food. Snap peas, shelling peas, and then this should be green beans. Now, this is the best the green beans have ever looked in the entire amount of time that I have tried growing green beans. So wouldn't it, they're a bush bean, won't it be fantastic if I actually get some beans? Whoa, whoa, whoa. What is happening down here? I don't like that. Need a little investigation, but I'm not seeing anything else. Okay. Switching sides. Look at what we have. Baby pumpkins, do 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 do. Baby pumpkins, do 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 do. Baby pumpkins, do do do. Now this is a marigold. It is a totally different marigold, and I have a couple of them with blooms on them that I will show you in the greenhouse in just a minute. But aren't those awesome? I got the seeds off Amazon. I thought that is super, super cool. Moving on, still, this is pumpkins. And look at them. Look at them. Sprawling down the walkways. I just come and move it out of my way. They have plenty of space to go where they need to go. Pumpkins on this end. These are sugar pumpkins, so these are little bitty ones that we will turn into pie and all the different things. There we are, some pumpkins. So, cucumbers every year. Cucumber battle. Cucumbers are super hard to grow up here, but look at what we have going on, friends. We have some weeds with our cucumbers. Oh man, sorry about the camera angle. Okay, so cucumber, 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 cucumber. All the rest died. That's okay, because these are vining cucumbers, and with that, they need space to spread out. So if I want more cucumbers than this next year, I probably have to double, triple, quadruple them. I have already pulled a few zucchinis. Let's have a look. I can see one. I like to pull them kind of small these days because most of the time around the house it's just Aaron and I, and these are going to be massive here in no time. These are our yellow squash. They always yellow like this. I am going to, in fact, I'll go grab it right now. So I'm not 100% sure if this yellowing is an iron problem, but it's the only thing I can think to fix it. So I have a little chelated iron here that I am just gonna sprinkle on the soil and allow it to just kind of soak in with the rain that's coming, in hopes that maybe that is what these yellow squash I'm constantly having an issue with. And so this is what I just put a little bit around the roots. If this works, I'll let you guys know. I will keep you posted. I've seen a lot of Alaska gardeners on the different gardening pages I'm part of are having the same yellowing issue. It could be our soil, it could be the water, it could be the amount of rain that we're getting, it could be a lot of things. And because I still am truly a new gardener, I don't have the exact answer, but I've seen that on another channel and I thought, you know what, I have some chelated iron. I'm gonna go out there and try it, because if I look, these are not yellow squash here, and look at all of the yellowing in those leaves as well. Gardening in Alaska has never been easy. Our growing season is incredibly short, so nearly everything begins months earlier inside the house, waiting patiently for spring to arrive. And then overnight, summer explodes into endless daylight. The rain comes for days at a time. The weeds never seem to rest. And before you know it, these crisp 50-degree mornings remind you that fall is already on its way. It's a challenging place to grow anything, and yet year after year, this incredible land, it surprises us. Under the midnight sun, vegetables grow with astonishing strength. Flowers burst into color, and somehow, against all odds, another season unfolds more beautifully than the last. And that's one of the many reasons I love gardening in Alaska. Let's head to the next row. These are our Brassicas. Now, a couple of them have just totally tipped over with the rain, but the vast majority of them are doing just fine. We have Brussels on the end here, purple cabbage, broccolis and cauliflowers, as well as green cabbages down here. And we are forming up heads. It is going to be just lovely. There is some more cauliflower here. Those are what knocked over in an earlier rainstorm, and then a few of the broccolis are kind of doing this number, but they're turning back up. They're gonna be fine. I'm not going to mess with them. I think that they have enough root and stalk strength that I don't think that they need my help. This I found this morning when I came out, when I was out here day before yesterday, because yesterday, I mean, look at, I just got that iron everywhere. I mean, it dumped, it poured. And I was like, oh my goodness, how bad is that going to be? And I came out today and these are potatoes, and it, hopefully they kind of bounce back, but potatoes are going to be fine, even if they tip over like this, and then they'll fill in. But this is our potatoes, and they were all like this. They were all standing up, so tall and beautiful, starting to flower. We got some really beautiful things going on. Move this pumpkin this way, away from the potatoes. But yeah, look at it. They're all gonna flower. It's lovely. So the potato harvest should be fantastic this year. Brassicas are looking good. I did come through one day and almost every single one of these, the very bottom leaves had some sort of eggs laying under them, and I was not sure what that was, and I pulled off the bottom leaf of every single brassica, and then I treated them with some neem oil, and after that I've had zero issues, and I keep coming out and looking, nothing. I'm not having anything else. However, I did find several slugs this morning on the greenhouse plastic, and so we are gonna have to do some bugs and slugs. I have those granules, they're ready to go. We've done that row. Let's talk about this beautiful, our flower row. As many of you know, my son just got married. We had planted a bunch of dahlias, some of these dahlias last year, saved them, started them early in hopes that they would make it to the wedding. They're about a week late. That's okay. The wedding was incredibly beautiful. We found flowers. Everything ended up just absolutely fantastic. What is sad though is these finally opened up yesterday, and look at, they got beaten up by the rain, but there are so many brand new blooms coming. This one should either be red or yellow. We weren't sure because we didn't label them. What's funny is I put a label down here with nothing on it so that I could tell myself what they are. This should be a giant red one, and so on. Down the center we have flowers. We have some petunias that we put. Look how badly those got beat up yesterday as well. The nasturtiums, my word, they are going for it. Look at them coming out into the walkways. They're starting to bloom underneath, but these are some white dahlias all the way down. And then these I will save the tubers, and we will plant these out into the landscape next year. But man, look at, those are gonna be huge. These are the little button ones. They're just now starting to open. Oh my goodness, they are gorgeous. This is gonna be so, so pretty. So over there we have some other flowers. everything just, this is gonna be, I'm gonna love this. I'm gonna love it. I'm gonna love the drive-in and look over and see all of this sea of color and flowers. Look at those. Isn't that so pretty? I love this. It's so wild. Yeah, so small world. That's what I was trying to come up with. So the romantic mixes, those are the small world. I wonder what color those are gonna end up being. Do you see the little bit of purpley pink? Exciting. Okay. So that's the inside of the garden fence. It is a 40 by 40-ish section of ground that is our in-ground garden. We have the greenhouses, and then we have lots and lots of pots. I'll take you along. Bordering the garden is the saddest, hardest thing for me to look at, but it's all going to be all right. And these are our flower pots. These are called a Biden, I think, and they smell like heaven. But look at all of these. Were literally so beautiful. Look at the white. The white back there is really taken off and looking amazing, and I am going to spend just a couple of minutes in the middle of this. Oh my gosh, those were huge yesterday, you guys. These black ones, and everything just got so, I'm a little bit sad. However, I think when they put their new growth on, after we get all of this cleaned up and look at everything, I'll pop back in and throw a video and some photos and some different things. So make sure you're following us. If you follow us, you'll get posts on YouTube, and then you'll be able to see kind of what is going on, and I can put some photos and things like that if I don't have the time or ability to put a whole new video out. But these were looking just fantastic. So we did a yellow and, sorry, kicking the camera. Here we go. We did a yellow and pink theme on the outside of the fence. I mean, look at the size. So these are all brand new. So it's going to bloom just absolutely beautifully. Look at that. So it's up here, and it did like its own wild thing. I just absolutely think it is so incredible the damage that one storm can do right before you film. Hello, real life, not TV world. Anyway, always something around here to deal with. So I'm gonna breeze through really quick. I think I'm just gonna start at this end, and I'm just gonna truck and get as much done as I can, because like I said, I'm trying to film this while talking and sharing the garden with you and doing maintenance all at the same time, because I have no time to get it done. Of course, I barely made it through, and it is starting to rain, and it is getting quite chilly. It was so lovely to spend some time in the sun out here. I'll show you a little bit of what I've had to do here. I cut back a bunch of the mint on all of these plants so that it can allow the geranium, and then this is a citronella plant, to get a bit more sun if it can, and that will flush back, because all of this down here in this mint plant is brand new, and chickens can have mint. That's totally fine. This one, I don't know what I was thinking. I didn't do as good of a job as pulling all of the mutilated flowers off as the other ones, but I did get all of those cleaned up, as best I can. Now, we're expecting less than half of the rain that we got over the last 24 hours over the next 24 hours, if that makes sense. So we're not expecting like a big hard torrential like downpour, and so everything that has been maintained should start popping back. And then I just took like a blower and blew off all of the plants, but that's amazing because all of that is going to be brand new flushes. I trimmed out all of these dead dahlias out of each one of these pots. I loved these, the like light yellow center with the pinks. This was an accident. So this should have been a pink super tunia, a bubblegum to be exact, like all the other pots, and it must have gotten mixed in, and it is a black super tunia with everything. So I kind of like funny little mistakes like that that come along. I went ahead, the chickens, tossed them everything today, and then cut back the mint out of this pot. And then I just knock down the nasturtiums and they'll cascade across the ground. But when they're growing up like that, they're looking for the light. And when they do, they kind of overtake some of the other plants. But if you just kind of knock them down, they'll just grow out and across. Look at this pot though. This one, if these were in bloom at the same time as the superbenas down here, oh my gosh, that's gonna take off and be really, really gorgeous. Strawberries. So we're gonna get a huge harvest at one time because every one of these is a strawberry, but the strawberry plants are super struggling being this wet. So I'm going through and pulling out what I can, and I may need to spray. I'll think about that. This one though, this, look at strawberries. I sat out here the other day and pulled like 8 of them off of here, and they are delicious. Like, look, that one still a little green. Oh, this one's ready, and this is all I do. It's like my reward for coming out here and doing chores every day. All of these will be strawberries. I love this hanging strawberry plant. Love it. So I just got the plants themselves and put them in that little pot, and I thought that was perfect with the red, white, and blue theme of the coop. And everything looks terrible because it's all wet and nasty right now, and I need to rake everything up. And then I'll show you in just a second. Aaron has been doing so good with the gravel and all of the landscaping, and when he is done in the next year or so from now, watching the garden grow from where it started to where it's at, huge improvements. But it is going to be amazing when that is like beautiful gravel. The greenhouse will go there. All sorts of things coming up in the future. So this is our other tower here, and it's all herbs. I have harvested off of here multiple times. I'm having some sort of like mildew issue, which I did treat this specific one with some neem oil. So neem is supposed to help with that. And I think it's just the amount of rain and lack of wind we're getting. But my gosh, look at the sage down there. The rosemary, just pulled a bunch of this out. Thyme, oregano. This is tarragon. This is an apple mint. Isn't that incredibly beautiful? But all in all, it's doing okay. The basil, not happy with this weather. Even the, I believe that's Thai basil down there. Nope, that's sweet leaf. It is stevia. It's not doing the best, but here we go again with this. When this blooms out, this bright orange, it matches this. And I think that is really, really pretty. Here are the black ones. Again, we're gonna have a huge new flush, and those were just totally mutilated. So I got this. So these are my chive plants here, and I got this one from my friends at Remote Life Alaska. She gave me that. How sweet. That was the gift to me. Erin welded their part of their excavator or a skid steer together, the bucket, and or forks or something. Anywho, unimportant. She brought me a bunch of fruit and plants and just wonderful. So down here, I hadn't shown yet, my grandmother put these ferns in. So the two ferns she picked out of the out at my mom's house out at the off-grid cabin, and then I got all of these hostas, and they're actually doing pretty well. And look at the big purple blooms on those. Aren't those great? This is the dogs area we're gonna plant out. I didn't want it washing away, and so I threw a bag of buckwheat and maybe some wildflowers, but I just needed something growing in the soil because we're gonna add in here garden soil and different things next year, and we'll be able to plant out. It becomes forest, this becomes chicken run, all of that fun stuff. Down there we have the lake. We will skip those plants right now and then head over here. I have one more pot. This is one of our hose pots, and we wash the dogs, but look at this. Here you can actually see what my vision was. The bright orange with that and pulling the colors together. This hose pot is super happy. And the mint that is in here is a pineapple mint, and it is just so much less aggressive than the other mints without taking over that pot. For years, this area wasn't much to look at. Every spring brought the same mud, the same puddles, and boots that never seemed to stay clean. Little by little, we've been chipping away at that. This summer, the gravel finally found its way home, and with something as simple as a clean path, everything else seems to shine a little brighter. The flowers stand out in a way they never could before. Every pot that I planted this spring suddenly feels like it has a place to belong, and all those quiet hours watering, fertilizer, deadheading, and caring for them are finally noticed. That's one thing I've learned about building a home. The big changes are exciting, but it's often the small finishing touches that bring years of hard work together. And as I look across the front of the house, now I can finally see the vision we've been working towards for so many years beginning to unfold. There's lots of work left to do, everything from a deck to more landscaping, but for right now, I find that I'm super grateful for what we've already accomplished. It's been a couple hours and I ran to town, and I think I missed the good weather. But I do need to fertilize a couple of the flower pots on the front of the house and everything on the woodshed. For sure, I got these up here fertilized the other day, but everything on this side of the house, on the north side, it doesn't get beat up quite as bad as what the garden has gone through. However, it doesn't get as much sun. And these poor pots have been rolled back and forth 20 times through this landscape project. And some of the stuff is falling because it was just sitting out over there. But it's gonna be much better protected against the wall here. So we have two identical pots up front here, and they are glorious. And I've just spun them around. This bunny tail, I think, is what that grass is called. It was in the back actually for a while, and I've spun it around to the front just to even out some of the light and then to expose some of the things that I think are just absolutely beautiful, which one of my favorites is this petunia right here. It kicked off these purple and chartreuse pots. So it's that deep dark purple in the center and the chartreuse on the outside. But look, it's loaded up. It is going to be putting on. So there's some fuchsias, this purple dahlia. So the leaf color is what I thought it would be. I didn't think the dahlia would be that color. In fact, I thought it would be more of like a true purple, almost like these pansies here. But look at that. But nonetheless, I think these pots are just, look at that. Lemon coral sedum in the back is just huge. There's just purple leaves poking out everywhere. So the deep purple and the pops of chartreuse, the green. I love this. All of these are gonna bloom out here very shortly. They're gonna be fantastic. Look at this size. So I spun this one around too. All of this was on the back, so it was reaching for the sun. And the lemon coral sedum was just towering down the front of the pot. And then this is what those look like when they bloom. Isn't that incredible? Let's see what you're looking at. I think these are so beautiful. Hello. So this is what I'm talking about on these. So I'll just come along, and if you just kind of knock on them, they'll start growing downward and then expose. Look at that purple. So pretty. I love it. And that one I just knocked down and around the back, and it'll spread out. Let's have a look at this way. Same thing. We're gonna have all new purple blooms there. Everything is gonna come along. We got brand new coming. And then they leave behind this like seed head. Isn't that cool? I never knew any of this. What a beautiful flower. Look at those. So many blooms. This one does all right. I'm not having to like, Dad had it when I fertilized it, just pick at it a little. But it does okay. And look at those. There's some purple, I think that's called sweet potato vine in there. Look at that. I just think they're neat from every angle. Like even when you're walking to the porch and you look across here, you see the different interesting things. Those are huge. Those are huge, happy, happy plants. And all the dahlias in different states of bloom. Like that one is done. That one's just opening up. And we have so many buds here. Just, I love it. So I think that dahlia though ties in to these pots, not on purpose, but kind of accidentally. Again, I had to move these around, so they got kind of beat up. They were hanging on the porch and the dog tried to jump up there, but that's okay. But we do have the black petunia, and look at this. Hello, friend. Why are you going that way? Go that way instead. Look. So this was kind of in this red and green. Oh, cascading greenery. Same over here. So just kind of knock these down, pull them out, and then I just kind of ran them along the front of the pot. I'll head off. So these are the same plant, but these are white ones. Aren't those incredible? Those are so sweet. I might get more of those next year. When we planted these up here on the porch, we did so because they were one of the only plants that could handle the shade, which the porch gets, and the smallness of the pot and not be too big. But oh my goodness, so is that a Zinfandel, I believe, full to part sun, 6 to 8 inches, but it could handle the pot. And I love that one, so I could keep remembering the name, but they're lovely. They have kind of that purpley red color to the leaves, and then they're covered in these yellow blooms. And I thought that would pop really nice with the yellow door and all the pinks and reds and purples that are floating around the porch. Let me show you one more. Now this one, something's happening with the pot, but that's okay. Look at this. So this is the pot that's on the porch. Lovely. I love that one. My sister, when she was here, told me this was her favorite. It matches the hanging pot. So that's the next thing I have to fertilize. I got everything on the porch that I could reach fertilize, but I have to get up the ladder and pour some fertilizer into that guy. I had Aaron help me turn him around. So, a couple of little dead guys. But look at that. Isn't she so pretty? Aaron and I always joke, if you're not willing to work in the rain, don't move to Alaska because you won't get anything done. That is the truest of all statements. And as Alaska did what Alaska did, and the weather turned from rain to complete wind, I'll go ahead and voice over the end of this video and this final section of the garden tour. I hope that you enjoy. Let's get into it. This little corner has become one of my favorites. The woodshed is one of the hardest working places on the homestead. Every stick of firewood that keeps us warm through our long Alaska winters passes through here. It's built for work, but that doesn't mean it can't be beautiful. This year, the bright red geraniums, deep blue flowers, and cheerful yellow blooms seem to come alive against the weathered wood. The colors remind me of summer in Alaska, bold, vibrant, and gone far too quickly. I've always believed the places that we work the hardest deserve a little bit of beauty too. After all, home isn't just the front porch, it's every corner where life happens. These are kind of that pot that we planted up quite a while ago, and they were just kind of some leftover things, leftover pots even, that my neighbor Carolyn had given me, and they bloomed one of my favorite dahlias. I love the bright red against that dark purple leaf. I just honestly think it makes them shine even more than other plants. And one of my absolute favorite things that has happened is the way that this nasturtium has weaved itself inside of the bench, and it truly has just kind of taken over that landscape of that hardness of the bench, if you will. It just, oh my gosh, I just think it is so cute. We did put up this fence to kind of keep the moose from munching on our pillar trees, and you can see how bad the wind is blowing today. It blew all kinds of sticks and different things across the garden, but the trees, they're standing up against it, and everything that we have landscaped and put in is actually doing really well. This is the larch that had fallen out of its root ball, and we were very concerned, but all of the bright green is new growth. And so the tree has been focusing on root growth, which is extremely good to see, but it has put on just a little bit of growth itself this year as well. I'm super happy to see that. I do believe this one is going to survive. Our garden soil was such a big investment, and we're not quite done planting out in this landscape. I threw a bag of buckwheat as well as an entire bag of wildflowers. We can work with that later to cover those things up, but it is keeping the soil in place, and over the winter, everything that dies back, the roots and all of the different things, will give life to the soil. And so this, I think, was the best choice I could make for this first summer. I did grow these pansies from seed, and they're just now starting to bloom. And I have found two of them, a black one and a white one in the garden, and I think they are just so sweet. This has been one of the most exciting projects we've tackled this year. What was once just an open area has been transformed with rich garden soil, young trees, and the beginning of a landscape we've dreamed about for years. And what amazes me most is how quickly it's come to life. The trees have put on incredible growth. The wildflowers are beginning to fill every open space, and little by little, this hillside is becoming softer, fuller, and more beautiful with each passing week. It's amazing what one season can do. This space still has years of growing ahead of it, but I already find myself slowing down every time I walk by, imagining what it will look like 5 or even 10 years from now. Sometimes the greatest joy isn't finishing a project, it's watching it come alive. The Fat Albert has put on the most growth, and it's really started to blow up. It had gone through a bit of winter burn before we got it, but it was the best looking tree that we had found, and I am so impressed with how quickly this tree is growing. I think very shortly this tree is really going to put on a show, and it is going to stand out all its own, just completely different than what grows around here naturally. And I do think it has found its place. I think this is one of my favorite things we've done. The other larch, it has put on some big time growth. This is going to tower about the same height as the black spruce that grow here naturally. And it is so big. That entire thing that you see there, it is literally the new growth from just this summer. So if you put on that kind of growth year after year to a place that you've committed to live, this is hopefully our end-all, be-all, dream home, all of those things. We hope to see this thing just truly reach its full potential, but I think it's going to do it very, very quickly. Although we don't plant the fireweed, I do think what the forest has to offer around here should be included in some garden tours, because the truth is, it is so beautiful. And this was all part of the hopes and the dreams that we have for the property moving forward. Is you see how we have the landscaped areas, we have the garden, we have all of that, but it works its way into the natural forest that we just couldn't plant out or create. And this is the exchange that we make. Instead of a manicured grassy lawn, we have the beauty of the Alaska forest around us. And I can't wait to have it all cleaned up, make it beautiful, and just allow the landscape to do its own thing, because I think it is going to give this homestead something that truly I'm not creative enough to have done. I thank you for joining me today along this walk and through the garden, as well as the chores and everything that goes into keeping plants alive here in Alaska. I hope that you enjoyed yourself. If you haven't yet, please don't forget to hit that subscribe button and then ring the bell. You'll get notifications and you won't miss anything that we're doing on our homestead. As always, I hope that you are blessed. I hope that you have the most beautiful week ahead of you in your own garden with a few potted plants or a great big landscape. No matter what it is, I hope you find some peace and some quiet. and I hope that you come back to see me in the next video. Bye for now.